avoided. And these are the issues the big tradition this week and today. If it's some way bang ndo kendo ibibio ndo ke native laws and custom tag benama mentions to domestic enam and women man don't make consequences. And also yeah, you when I guess Oku is with us. Let me welcome him. First of all, Oku, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Oku is of Fair Ubong Abase, and of course is one of the custodians of our tradition, and is quite interested in keeping, these indelible footprints on the sands of times for posterity. I try 80 make sure. Okay, mendo yemen eduem ukamyen. Ikisegi kakama. Okay, ikisegi kakama. Ke mfenemi anaga kaiso kama that those practices for posterity meniton yere to edike na yese nam do atando ukanyen. Okay, last week wana ma banga again nam do okay me ba for would for a long time, for some time ikinye yen then kinyong ibenem bonno ke liwo and kiwo kai ke establish ikinye relationship me woman. In that relationship, it on here and it okay, the bar, Nanya, Nanturoke Panga, Nanya, Turoke Panga, Mensiki don't tap, and you try to offer explanations on that. I think we can continue from there. What are to be done to forestall that, and also let's go that direction. Let's give them some advice.
Okay, basically, like I said last week, that marriage was not properly annulled. And that should be attended to, because whatever you do out there, you are still under the covering of the previous husband. And so if the spirit that protects that family does not want a foreign blood into the system, that's what it does, is to eradicate until officially and all of that, then that spirit will also withdraw. We have things like the Ekpunkawo. The core essence of Ekpunkawo was to ensure the purity of a bloodline. That is to say, a woman wouldn't go out and bring in a strange child into the family. Okay. And in most cases, it is that strange child that brings the atrocities and calamities that most homes face. So, such spirits are still in different homes, even though some people claim it's been abolished. No, it hasn't been abolished. There are 3 different stages of activation. Some are activated naturally once the marriage is done. Some are activated by the family when the marriage is done, while some can be activated by any member who sees or suspects can pour drink and activate. So if you are lucky to come from the family where someone will have to activate when they see or suspect you. You may be flowing around thinking, but eventually someone catches you or suspects you and then pour libation and inform the spirit of Ekpunkawo. You will be affected.
Okay, how about a situation where a relationship member outside Akwa Ibom State and I would unconscious of unaware of Ekpunkawo in that family?
Ignorance is not excuse anyway, and distance is still not an hindrance. It doesn't matter, even if you are in the US. I mean, I sit here and I have people contact me from as far as the US and other parts of the world, facing the same traditional problems that are worrying us here. You see, as far as you yourself, you are there, then the spirits of your house, your ancestors, are also with you. So distance is not a barrier to all of that.
Distance may not be a barrier.
Not may, is not.
Not. What if you do inter-tribal relationship where
that
is from outside
that becomes a bit more complex, because we now have 2 traditions to observe. These are some of the thing. Okay, maybe before we get there, let me just come forth with this basic understanding. Is the fact that if you check from animals, general animals, all of these animals try to mate based on a comparative advantage. That, for example, the hen will only bend to a cock that has the best display. The lizard will only stop for the male lizard that has strength to grab her down. A crocodile cannot succumb to any man unless you push her down to the bottom of the water. The lioness cannot succumb to any lion unless he protects the territory and shows strength, superior strength. So there is a desire to fuse based on a specific advantage, right? So today we have lived all of these and we are following basic sentiments like Efra Yayao, Eba Akbu, Iso, and so this comparative advantage, not just looking at yourself, but also the children that will come, is what made our ancestors usually keep marriage within a close circle, like Ndo Atape, a few houses away, or maybe few villages away. Don't go too far. Why? In the case of conflict resolution, when the wife's family is thousands of miles away, and then issues come, then there's the chance of resolving is very slim. So we have left this thing. So in the case where you are talking about coming from two different tribes, that marriage must fulfill the mandate of both tribes. Failure to do that, there will be problem. And you see, a lot of reasons why our marriages are collapsing. We just think maybe it's just about the character of the people involved. I mean, in the first place, these two people felt so much in love before they got married. So at what point did things go wrong? I mean, some people even courted for 5, 6, 7 years before they got married. So it is assumed that they know themselves very well. But 6 months, 1 year, 2 years down the line, the marriage is dissolved. Why? Because the elements that sustain the marriage is not well taken care of.
And what are the elements?
Like we said, if the traditions, the people that embody these two traditions must be well taken care of. The area of giving the items, the marriage rites performance is key. And then the bond between the spirits of these two couples, the man and the woman, it's not just about body attraction. We most time end at body attraction. I like her breast, I like her now, And then we fail to realize that the pleasure of sex is very momentary. Like after a while it dies. So we must anchor on something superior than that, and that is the purpose of why you have chosen this person, and you made this choice based on those advantages, comparative advantages that you have checkmate. Like if you check, the rich don't play with this. That's why you find a typical rich Igbo man will not allow his or her daughter to go out and marry. That's one. Secondly, he must marry to a lucrative family, a family that is industrious and is doing well, so that the burden of the other family will not be transferred to them. And then instead of both rising, they are falling. So
where do the poor man come in now?
Where will the poor man?
If you can't afford it,
then you go to the one that you can manage. I mean, marriage is open to everyone. No, that is just the reality, because the truth is there are some complaint as an averagely living person that you will make that the next average living person will understand. For instance, now you as a poor person, you are complaining about the cup of gari in the market. A rich man is not complaining about that. Even if it is sold for 1,000 a cup, that's like okay for a rich man. So both of you are coming from two different backgrounds. Your complaints are going to be different. And then when it comes to the concept of marriage, if the backgrounds are not comparative in some level, right? One person will feel inferior, and inferiority complex can turn into abuse. Most domestic violence you hear today is inferiority complex. One person is feeling insecure because the other person is probably excelling, making more money, or being more beautiful, or being that, or being, these things bring inferiority complex, and this inferiority complex transcend into abuse. And
that takes me to abuse. And that takes me to another one. In a family where the wife earns more than the husband, they're bound to be
problem, even though that is not the problem. The problem is not that the woman makes more money. The problem is the fact that the man cannot stand the woman who makes more money. So that man in the first place should have considered his comparative advantage. You go for a woman who you are richer than. Sometimes we are just following that desire. Oh, my wife makes a lot of money and all of that, but that wife is going to come home where he says, I need 100,000 for something, and because you can't afford it, you're like, no, now we shouldn't do it. You know, it is not good. But she knows that the reason you say we shouldn't do it is because you are broke. You can't afford it, and then she goes about ahead to do it because she can afford it. It becomes a problem.
And that's where the inferiority complex
comes in. I had a friend who the wife said he should buy her a car. And he said, no, they shouldn't buy a car, that they should manage the small car. And the woman is like, come on, you know who my father is, you know the society I'm coming out from. This car is almost a mockery to me. It is, you know, it is not about the money. Let's get this car. And the guy said, no, we cannot get it. We will not get it. And the girl went ahead to buy it. And that was the end of the marriage. Did she buy it at any expense of it? No. It's just a change she can afford. But because the man felt that the money didn't come from him, then it takes something away from him, you know. But that
inability to provide.
Do you understand? So you have to look at your advantages and then choose the one that will be very comfortable for you.
Okay.
Good.
All right, if you are just joining us, this is this is a Sunday special show, and we are on Our Tradition, a department of Sunday special show that actually reflects on the tradition and our culture, ways of life. And today we're looking at traditional engagement, traditional relationships, traditional, marriages under native law and customs. In just a couple of weeks from now, we'll be having Valentine's Day, Valentine's this and that. Female-male relationships will be at the fore again. And of course, couples or would-be couples will be eyeing each other, preparatory to start or nurture a relationship. But of course, you got to be, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Yeah. Okay, and I'll come to Oku. I have Oku here with me from the Afilbo Embassy. Now, couples today or young boys today, they find their mates at schools or churches or elsewhere, perhaps at social functions like the Valentine thing that's coming up in just a couple of weeks. But our parents never used to do that way. They used to consult the family and they make proper, negotiations before they agree to such relationships. Consider the difference between now and what are the things to expect from me rushing and meeting a woman who's okay, I love you, now let's get married.
That approach is why we have so much.
And listener, you're free to call us. Sorry to interrupt you. You're free to call us on 0803 085 7755. That is 0803 085 7755 or 0809 066 6909. That is 0803 085 7755 and 0809 066 6909. These numbers will grant you access to the show and you can ask your questions. Oku Edidem Oku is here in the house. Oku Esen. All right.
So I was saying that the failure of that approach in today's society is the reason why we have several failed marriages, because the concept of understanding the character of a woman or a man cannot be ascertained or be achieved by a younger person of that same age. That is to say, my father will tell more about me because he has watched me from my tender age to the point where I am now. The same will my mother do to a daughter.
Okay, let's get this call. You have a call here. Hello. Yeah, we lost that call. Please, we've not lost the caller. Try again. And let's get, okay.
So, now these parents in those days would take this advantage to the market and sort out for a very good bride for their son.
Yep.
But today, the society is prone or is tailored to go highly emotional. The movie is giving us reasons to be married. The music is giving us reason to be married. Novels and so many other things. Internet. Then our reasons are only based on emotion. We are not settling down to look at the real nitty-gritties. We look at marriage as in the now. We're not looking at the future. That's why you see when the grease that made you moved in the first place fades out, and then you will start looking for the trouble that would end the marriage, and then you gaslight the other person. So there was a great advantage when our parents made the pick. And also, then marriage was not based on love. I don't know, that concept is well overrated. Love is the greatest lie ever told to humanity. Love. It is the greatest lie ever told to humanity, because what is believed to be the love is the emotion that you feel wanting to be with someone, and it is said that is the love. No, that is not the love, because that is very transient. It comes and goes. But you find out that our parents in the past will meet their wives or their husband in the day they are married, and the marriage stays till their old age. How could they have defined love when they are just meeting?
Okay.
So today we are claiming love, 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 love. Love is not a reason why anybody should be married. As a matter of fact, if you say you love this girl so much, then she is not your wife. She's supposed to be just someone, if you are indisciplined enough, you just have fun with and then move on. What transcends into marriage? It is when you find someone that fits into a purpose, a direction where you want to head, or may not be heading the same direction with you, but gives you the wings to fly towards your direction. When they talk about the concept of helpmeet is not from the bedrock of love. It is from the bedrock of discipline, skills. How can you help someone if you don't have those skills? You cannot. How can you help someone if you are not disciplined enough to be a help, to offer help? A helpmeet will be a giver, and how can you give when you don't have?
Right.
So it's not about love. Life must be tailored down to purpose and simply defined as interest. What have you found in this girl that in the next 100 years, if God gives you guys those years to live, you will still value it? Because the breast will go, the fine beauty will go,
Everything will fade.
Everything will fade. But why will you still choose to be with this person? You find today, I would practically say that I think the Igbos, with my few studies, have very successful marriages. Why so? Their parents choose their wife. The sons go for apprentice. When they are ready, they send message home. They take their wives and wait for them. And they marry, and the son may even return back while the mother grooms the wife. And then as they return, the wife is groomed into the business of the husband, and then the wife becomes a branch manager. If you check around, that's what's going on.
Or they stay together.
They stay together, and when their son grows, the son becomes a branch manager. When the daughter grows, it becomes a branch manager. And so in that singular business of theirs, they are expanding.
Yes.
And the bloodline is managing it. But today, that's not what we do here in Ibibio. And so we have a whole lot of work to do. The apprentice program of the Igbos still remains very excellent. In fact, it has produced more millionaires than universities.
In other words, it means the wife has to follow the vision of the husband.
I mean, when they say, let's follow it from the Christian perspective. Because, I mean, today is Sunday, a lot of Christians are listening. It is said you will have to be a helpmeet. That means you would meet him with help towards that singular direction. But today, okay, there's nothing wrong with a woman having her own dreams and aspiration, no problem. But in your dream and aspiration, you must understand that you have submerged yourself into a certain line of goal, a certain line of purpose, to whom you are subject or following the leadership of a certain man who you call your husband. So no matter how far you go in your own choice of discipline and whatsoever, your aim should always be, where can I step in to get him going? Where can I support him?
Optimize everything.
Where can I optimize? Do you understand? And that is what we are lacking here. Here in Ibibio, we are so driven by this my thing syndrome, I am syndrome, me. Ndo iraha me kesa ndo me. I wanna bubble for kumi real estate. There is no coordination. And as such a mental divide is what the child also have. Because children are not watching when you talk to them. That's not when they learn. They learn when you are not talking. They watch you and they are learning. How you pat your wife on the back, they are learning. How
actions.
you respond, they are learning. I mean, little things is when children are learning. And so what do we find today? A highly divided society, because the strength of every society is in the family. And the strength of the family lies between the man and the woman. We also are grooming a high level, how will I say, intellectually poor set of women within the Ibibio land, who are claiming to be civilized, but they are not civilized. It is high level of inferiority. They want to blend. Some are going the fly, slay, and all of that. No single skills or any form of discipline. Even the ones that are claiming to go to school come out with that. I mean, it's like they are being schooled off the basic womanhood to be a woman. And so they come out, they just disintegrate the society. And then, of course, it's easy to blame the opposite sex. You can say it's a man, and the man says it's a woman. But there is a role for the woman in the society, and there's a role for a woman. As a matter of fact, the rot of our society today
we don't
is
want
majorly...
the flash this place. If you are calling the call straight, don't flash because we can't, we wouldn't, you will be interrupting us. Thank you. Feel free to call 0803 085 7755. And we just got 3 minutes to have a call or two. Otherwise, we'll continue with the show and call it quits in 3 minutes.
Let me chip in something there. You know, in some families, women are some of the people in some homes, and the one that spoil all these things for ourselves. Because they are yes, I mean, when you there are some people when they marry, and the woman is up and doing, able to do whatever, maybe is academically strong and maybe supposed to secure a job. The husband will say, no, I don't want my wife to work. I don't want my wife to leave the home. I don't want my wife to go out so that people will not touch her. And I want her to stay at home. You see? So as such, it instills some laziness into the wife's.
This is what we need to know. When a man begins to feel that way, that means the woman was already wrong from the onset. Let me tell you, a man that provides confidence to a man, no such man will tell the woman not to go out. A woman that is easily accessible, 1 minute her phone is ringing, the other minute her phone is ringing. It brings insecurity, even if they are talking about something else. A woman, you walk out and she's greeting more men than women. It brings insecurity into the man. So you will not blame the man in such kind of a situation. Although 100% we can't say it's the woman's fault. Because there are men that are not emotionally mature to be and let others be. And then they move into marriage and they want to secure both sides, which is very, it's a hectic job. But we must come to the drawing board and understand that this is a highly psyche a phenomenon we are talking about. These are issues of the mind. Our society today is the way it is because vastly, if you leave me, I will say it and I can be quoted anywhere. The women have failed in their role. The women have failed in their role. Today, who taught us how to be jealous? The women. We need to come to the nitty-gritty. Some of the things I'll say here, a lot of people may not understand. Oh, Fanami, what told you? Okay. But then, when you go down to how the mind works, you will understand.
We got 2 minutes. I don't know if we can really explain this in 2 minutes. Otherwise, I'll take that for discussion for next week. The women are significantly the causes of the failures in some marriages. Why? I think that's a good way to start next week.
It's very important for us to do so. Look at the successful homes today. You find out that the role is on the women. You say you do not want a promiscuous man, but hey, you can't stop the promiscuity of a man because he's a polygamist.
All right, so next week I think we can continue from there. We got just 2 minutes before our next program comes up. Oku, a series of the Affair Ubongo. You can reach him and continue the conversation with him on Facebook, and he will be glad to have you there. Oh.
On Facebook is Oku Affair Ubongo.
So that's right. So yeah, next week we'll have our tradition again. Next week at 5 after the news at 5. Okay, until then, please, thanks for coming. And let's give way for our next program. It's just 2 minutes away from our next program.
Thank you.
Thank you, and God bless you. We'll be talking Valentine.